Personal log 1. Flight time 7 hours. All cockpit systems are reading green, pressure is stabilizing. We're on our way to the goddamn moon. The date is August 27th, 2018. Out. Personal log 2. Flight time is 162 hours. The date is September 2nd, 2018. I don't apologize for my infrequency in audio logs. It was never my intention to make these proceedings personal, but I have the recorder and I have a lot of time in between system checks, so screw it, why the hell not? I'm glad I left Earth. I don't miss it. Not yet. They say you do, but I don't. Out. Personal log 3. Flight time, many hours. The date doesn't matter. Screw it. All that matters is I'm in goddamn space after nearly a decade of training. I made it. Wahoo. Out. Personal log 4. Well, we're on the moon now. It's pretty amazing. The gravity is just like in the videos they broadcast in the 70s. That sure wasn't a hoax, people. There's a flag, the footsteps, all that shit. I'll just bound around over here. Oh. Hup. Haha, yeah. Personal log 5. I'm outside the landing craft, collecting samples, and I need to make note of the stark beauty here. There's nothing on this planetoid, our moon. Nothing but, well, now, what the, well, now this requires a, oh my god. Personal log, sorry to address you like that, but there's something scratched in the dirt here. It's geometric, it's a triangle, with a circle circumscribed within it. There are letters surrounding the circle, M, I, C, H, I, E, L, and some markings. Jesus, it looks like Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, what the hell? I liked this one. I wish I understood the twist at the end. Care to enlighten? Triangle of Solomon. Pardon my inaccuracies. It's 0530, though excuses suck. The outer rim here is ancient Hebrew, as well as the inscription of Michael. I realize it's anachronistic the way I present it.
Be me. Be 15 and Innawoods hunting pigs. Be Florida boy. Be in crooked pine tree in palmetto swamp. Hear splashing and rustling far behind me. Here come the piggies.jpg. Noises are start and stop. Always getting closer. Turn around and look down scope. Something tall standing behind pine tree. Good 400 yards out, looks like an idiot in a ghillie suit trying to die. Roll back over cause I know he saw me look at him. He keeps coming. Close now 200 yards, dude's got a gorilla mask on. 100 yards now, he's been zigzagging between pine trees. The wind shifts and I can smell hot garbage on the wind. Look again and catch him between trees. Tallest man I've ever seen. At least 9 feet tall. Smell is getting worse. And his mask is convincing enough to spook my young man self. Starting yelling that he ruined my hunt and I coulda shot him. He lets out the loudest fucking screech I've ever heard in my life to this day. Inhuman. Starts ripping palmettos out of ground and shaking its pine tree, making live limbs snap off. Warning shot from my .243 scares it and I take off with my pistol in hand. Book it out of woods and to the hunting camp. Lock myself in a hunter's mobile cabin and wait for Pops to get my ass. Tell him what happened and he called it a skunk ape. Stinky Bigfoot. Still wish I had shot the fucker. I could be shitposting from a mansion.
OC Greentext because fuck it. Gonna keep the jargon down and try not to dox myself too much. Be me, in the military over 10 years ago. Deployed to the Middle East. Logistics. One of my jobs is to inspect cargo before it gets on airplanes because people legit move like Humvees with grenades and claymores and shit and don't understand why it's wrong. Come into work and get told I got an inspection on a 40-feet trailer full of NVGs. Think it's weird there's a 40-feet trailer full of NVGs, but whatever, I just work here. Oh, it's also on the other side of base in the ammo yard. Even weirder, because that area is for Well, ammo/explosives. Drive out there with another inspector. User, as we call them, turns out to be Army SFG. Okay, that explains the 40 feet trailer full of NVGs in a way. They move weird shit all the time. Get some scales, have the user back it on, get all my weights and measurements and stuff for the guys who plan it on the specific mission. SFG guys think we're done. Not so fast. Tell them I have to look inside it to verify they aren't moving any undocumented hazmat blah blah blah. The troop leader, Amaj, says absolutely not fucking happening. Well, then I can't sign this form saying it's cleared. DTR gives us final authority on its movement. Only way to avoid this is with what's called a site-sensitive waiver, issued by Transcom, which they don't have because no one ever reads the DTR. For the sake of brevity, imagine a bunch of back and forth, get me your commander, blah blah. Eventually they cave. They need my signature since it's not going up on one of their SACOM birds. Maj opens trailer telling me to come in. Upon opening, there's a tarp, basically blocking view from the outside if someone opens the doors. Walk inside tarp with Maj and he immediately pins me up against the corner and says how I'm going to have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. OFC, he didn't have that on him either, as he wasn't expecting all this. Don't fuck him over, he'll find me. So I get spooked because I'm no one special. This is totally not going how I thought it would go. Finally, after I yes sir to him about all that stuff, I take a look. There's 6 containers holding what looked like humanoid figures. They legit looked like something out of the movies where they stumble into like a cryo freezer and things. Bunch of computers and stuff connected to these containers. Couldn't get a good look because the part where you can view what's in it was fogged up. Persian Gulf country, summer, at night means humidity is insane. People's glasses would fog up instantly upon walking outside. Realize I'm in way over what I should be looking at and quickly say all good and sign the form I needed to sign. Maj takes the form, threatens me again not to fuck him and he'll be by the office with the NDA shortly. Other dude that was with me wasn't allowed in, sees me walk out like I saw a ghost, keeps bugging me what was in it. I can't say. Won't stop asking me about it for the rest of the deployment and even some time after. Maj shows back up at my office the next day to inquire about the mission his cargo is going on. Dipshit forgot the NDA, lol. Threatens me again and says he'll bring it in a few hours, didn't see him ever again after this. Here's the cherry on top though, while the Maj was there he was informed his mission was being tail swapped and would be loaded later than expected. He lost his shit. When he wasn't getting anywhere, this dude pulls out a government cell phone and speed dials some general who quickly gets his way and they end up loading it at the original time. The ops guys later tell me this shit apparently could only be loaded at a specific time to mask its movement from either Russian or Chinese satellites they knew were tracking it. That time period was as a gap between coverage. Spent a week wondering if that Maj was gonna shoot me from the shadows for not signing his NDA. I'm not sure how credible the story is, but I want to keep this thread alive because Innawoods threads are my favorite on this board. My grandpa told me about a time he thought he saw a UFO in the woods. I'll attempt to green text what I can. 1990s Innawoods in Michigan. Not necessarily a forest, just a square section of woods about a mile square surrounded by cornfields by his old house. Grandpa isn't someone who's superstitious by any means. Grew up poor, an avid hunter, and he chopped his own wood to heat their house, so he's always in the woods. Out late one night, maybe about midnight in January/February. A full moon, a lot of stars, blanket of snow, so the woods were bright due to the reflections and stuff, no cloud cover either. Sitting out under a tree, either from hunting raccoons or some shit, or cutting down trees to bring home. Grandpa's just enjoying the night and shit, yeah, no? Everything is fine and normal until now, and when he told me his eyes went wide like he was scared, even though this happened maybe 10 years before he told me. Said out of nowhere the wind just stopped, the leaves stopped blowing, the trees stopped creaking. Everything was just black. He starts looking up at the sky and realizes he can't see any stars or the moon. Told me that he can still remember how quiet it was, said he's never heard anything that quiet. 10 or 15 minutes pass, or at least that's what he said it felt like. It was too dark for him to see his watch. The light returns and he can see the sky. Booked his ass home, leaving his shit by his makeshift day campsite. Wasn't very exciting, but he said whatever blocked out the moon/stars had to have been fucking big.
Be my grandma. Have a nice backyard with a garden and an apple tree that has not been doing good for the past year or so. Walking around the backyard. One day finds a few chicken bones around the apple tree. Few days later. Finds a few broken chicken eggs and one still intact. Nobody has chickens in the whole town, so can't be laid by one. Gets worried, says she's heard stories of black magic being done with such stuff. Tell her to chill, prob some niglets throwing thrash around. Fast forward 1 month. Finds a bone wrapped in red cord hanging from the apple tree. Freaks out, says she sees dead people welcoming her in her dreams. According to her, that's a sign of big trouble upon somebody. Says she dreamt the same shortly before Grandpa died. Starts feeling sick on daily basis. Doctor's appointment. MPEG. TFW diagnosed with breast cancer. FFW 6 months, still recovering. Winter.png. One day finds a few more eggshells in the backyard. Few days later falls and breaks her arm. Seriously freaks out, decides she will seek some help. Goes to some old gypsy woman in the other end of the country. Known as some sort of a healer/fortune teller. Grandma describes the findings and happenings in the past year. Gypsy pulls out a pen and a paper and draws an exact map of Grandma's house and backyard. Pinpoints the exact fucking location of the tree. Says the tree is fucked because somebody has been watering it with dead water, the water used to clean dead bodies, during night. Says some evildoer is trying to make ill upon her. Tells Grandma to go and dig around the tree, there should be bones and eggshells buried around it, then water the tree with holy water. MFW Grandma actually finds bones and eggshells around the tree. Waters the tree with holy water daily. MFW no further issues from this moment on. This made me think seriously about magic, God, and the supernatural. Many things about that I still can't logically explain.
Found one, the other one is pretty long though. In the summer of 2010 I ended up in Hardinsburg, Kentucky for my grandmother's funeral. The only other time I had been up there was when I had been younger, and it was so that my grandfather could be the priest for my dad's current marriage. Anyways, I was in Kentucky for 5 or 6 days and spent every night at my cousin and equals aunt's, I am not really sure which she is, house. Of the grandchildren who were grown up, I was the youngest and ended up on babysitting duty for the majority of the time up there. I stayed in a little trailer at the top of a hillock along with a bunch of my younger cousins. During the day everyone would go over to my granddad's and leave me there with the kids, and then come home for a few hours and put the kids to bed before heading back out to go and do God knows what. I stayed up pretty late on the last night we were there. The kids were in bed and I had the place to myself for quite a while, so I figured I would go and sit on the porch enjoying a cigarette. As I walked out the door there was this god-awful stench. It was a metallic/shitty smell that is really hard to describe, but I am sure if you have smelt it you know what I am saying. It was just this gross-ass stench that hit me like a ton of bricks when I got outside. I started gagging and walked down the stairs of the trailer thinking I would get some fresh air off the porch. As I got down I saw in the moonlight what looked like one of my younger cousins, Aiden. He was just kind of standing there, with his back to me a good 50 feet away from the trailer. I yelled out to the little kid that he needed to get back inside or his mama would flay him alive, but he just kept standing there. I kept hollering and walked up to him, and as I got closer I noticed he seemed kind of off. He was standing, but he had his knees bent at weird angles to each other and his head was cocked to the side a little. I tapped him on the shoulder and he turned around. Aiden had this crazy, manic smile on his face and sweat was just pouring off of his little forehead. He started shaking and it took me a moment to realize that he was laughing cause no sound was coming out. I tried to pick him up and carry him inside so I could look at him in some decent light and make sure he was okay, but he must have backstepped as I tried to get him. I snatched at him again, and I caught him and he just started screaming in this really freaky guttural voice I didn't think he could make. It was just way too deep and gruff for a 5-year-old to make. While he was screaming, He was also flailing his arms and legs around. He ended up making contact with my groin, so I dropped him, and he ran off towards the trailer. I sat there hunched over for a moment getting some air before running up after him. He was gone when I looked up, so I ran inside hoping he would be waiting for me in the living room. Well, he wasn't, but after some looking around, I found him passed out in the top bunk of his bunk bed. I was confused as shit, but I wasn't going to wake him up, and I just decided I would let his mom know about it when she got home. When my aunt got home a few hours later, I told her about it, and she woke Aiden up to ask about it. He had no clue whatsoever what we were talking about, and we ended up sending him back to bed after giving him some juice. My aunt thinks I must have had some crazy vivid dream and made it up, but the next morning while I was loading my stuff up into the truck, I smelled that gross smell, and I would have sworn I saw Aiden darting underneath the trailer. Had he not walked out the front door a split second later along with the rest of the family, I would have chased after him, but I just told myself I was imagining things, and didn't say anything to my family.
This is my first time writing a green text story, but it is pretty spooky, so you guys might like it. 19 at the time, girlfriend and I really love Silent Hill. Found out it is loosely based on Centralia, Pennsylvania, and the mine fire that occurred beneath it. Live in Connecticut at the time, so only a few hours from there, so we make a day trip to check it out. We binge horror movies the night prior to get us in the spooky mood. Arrive and explore the place, checking out all the abandoned buildings. All roads apart from the main road are in a state of serious disrepair. Decide to go down a side road in my beater Dodge Neon, hear a loud thud and scraping, and stop the car. Get out and check what the fuck I just hit. Turns out there must have been a pole cemented into the road and then cut away at some time, since a good 4 inches was sticking out of the road but covered in grass. Wheel is completely wrecked and I don't have a spare. Call AAA and told a truck will be out eventually since we are so far from the nearest garage. It is midsummer, so the sun is out until late, so we just say fuck it and keep exploring, waiting for AAA to call with an ETA for the truck. It gets later and later without any updates, so we grab some stuff from my car and go to the town hall that has the one working street light in front of it in the town. We sit down and just chill and play cards. Midnight and still no update from AAA, called back and still given an eventually answer. The town is completely pitch black except for this one street light. Suddenly a car pulls up in front of the town hall we're at, someone gets out, car drives away, and this person stares at us as we sit under the street light and just stare dumbfounded back at them. Person walks towards the building while looking at us, but it is hard to see their face since it is so dark out. Person opens the door to the town hall, which is pitch black inside, goes in, and shuts the door behind. Girlfriend and I look at each other confused, since we thought seeing 2 teenagers alone might set off some red flags, and someone would check if we were alright or whatever. Go back to playing cards thinking it was just a weird encounter in a spooky town. Another car pulls up, different make and model, and the same thing happens, again can't make out their face, stares at us and goes inside. This repeats a handful of times, which leads to us becoming increasingly creeped out and nervous. Around 2 a.m. a truck finally arrives, helps us with a new spare, and we get the hell out of there. Still no idea to this day what the fuck was going on with those people. First pick is the building and where we were sitting. Second is the road I was heading towards when I broke down.
May have nothing better to do until gym, so here goes. This would be better posted on /x/ but meh. Be me 7-year-old in 2003. Live with mom and dad in the city, but we are originally from a rural as fuck town out on the plains in Tella Orman. Visit grandma for the summer at her 1-story old peasant-like house like I do usually. Have great fun with the other kids biking on the plain, swimming, and almost drowning, in the Danube. 2 weeks in my summer vacation, grandma's cousin dies from a heart condition that she had for some time. The whole village is distraught because older folk remember that she was born with the right condition to become a maroi after death. The local superstition, at least in my area of the country I hear it varies, says that if a child is born with umbilical cord wrapped around the neck it will turn after death, a tad silly if you ask me. Grandma's cousin was born like this, and the older people in the village were losing their shit that she needs to be staked before burial or she will turn and come for her relatives. Grandma and her other cousin say fuck no because it's barbaric and we are living in the 21st century. Another tradition here is to keep the deceased body for 3 days before burying in the house. Don't ask me, I don't know why. It was during this that shit started to become eerie, that even me, a kid who was just playing around all day, started to pay attention to WTF was actually going on. Now a quick disclaimer before I continue. I was 7, didn't understand much, and the whole village in the year of God 2023 still doesn't have proper electricity and running water. So you can imagine what kind of people and what kind of mentality they have there. But even looking in hindsight as an adult, I still can't help but shudder at how many coincidences that happened to be similar to folklore happened. One day after the priest did the ritual for the deceased, my grandma's other cousin, sister of the deceased, comes to our home scared out of her mind. She says that when she went back home the previous night the body was not there, went into the yard to look for it, called on one of her neighbors, and when they checked the house it was back. She also say that she has had dreams of her deceased sister. Both my grandma and her go to the priest and decide to fuck tradition and do the burial early. Old dudes and basbushkas are like steak, but they still refuse. 3 days after the burial things are okay, I am having fun, and one night I invite one of my village friends home to play. Grandma goes to sleep early and we continue to play even if it's 9 and it's getting a bit darker. We decide to listen to the radio. Suddenly I see the cupboards in the living starting to shake a bit. I think, oh no, earthquake, duck. The thing is, only the cupboards are shaking and it gets more violent. Dog is barking like crazy outside. Forgot to mention it started barking ever since the burial for whole nights, and grandma was tired of it. I hear the pots we use for cleaning and the brooms falling over outside. The windows start to vibrate. Now looking back, I was a dumb kid, so I wasn't associating these bizarre happenings with actually being haunted. Me and my friend were more perplexed than scared at first. Then it gets real. The barking reaches a crescendo and then I hear our fucking dog, some mutt wolf shepherd, fucking fighting something outside the house. It gets quiet. Now I'm actually shitting mijlf.jpg. Think some animal killed our dog and it has to be pretty big to do the mutt in. Oh shit.png. The fucking cupboard starts shaking, falls over. My friend fucking loses it and takes off. I do the same, leaving my sleeping grandma alone and running to my friend's house like a little bitch. Yep, looking back, not proud of that one, 7 or not. I return the next day after sleeping over. Our yard is a mess. I meet grandma, who says that she needs to take Old Tull, named after a big river, our dog, to the vet because it's injured. It has shallow teeth and claw mark injuries. She also says that the house is a mess and the windows from the living got smashed in. At this point, even I as a kid realize how serious the situation is getting. Not even 2 days later, my great aunt, the sister of the deceased now haunting us, fall very ill. They take her to a regional hospital where they keep her because apparently she caught some sort of respiratory disease suddenly in summer. Unlike her sister, she was really healthy. Another few days pass and news are not good. Her condition is deteriorating fast and the doctors don't know WTF is going on. The old people in the village say that it's her sister trying to take her to the other side. Insert medieval Romanian moment in the year of God 2003. The whole village is summoned. All the important men, the priest, the school teacher, the mayor, and the police officer. They have council in the local gymnasium. I would later learn that they did this because everybody needs to keep their mouth shut, since what is about to happen is to nobody's surprise illegal. The middle of the day they gather a posse, no torches and forks since it would be a tad silly, only shovels, take a few sharp stakes and go to the cemetery. Me and the local kids follow even if the adults tell us off. They dig up my dead and now decomposing relative. Break the lid on the coffin and the priest start chanting Orthodox prayers and chucking holy water while 2 men fix the stake to hammer it in. When it goes in, I hear like balloon popping and losing air. A few seconds later we all hear. I asked my friends and people that were at the scene at the time if they also heard it and said yes, a long thin piercing wail that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. Not an animal that I know. They bury her again with the priest doing the prayers and the rituals and head back. Not even 2 days later my grandma's cousin turns up, having miraculously recovered in no time. The local folklore legends are reinforced. Years had passed and I forgot about that experience until a friend in college mentioned something similar happening in his village. The same full course, only this time being the late 2000s. Nobody wanted to do the ritual and the morosis victim was getting closer to death even in intensive care, again respiratory problems. So a lone villager went during the night and staked the fucker, and in a week the victim recovered. Now in this case, not having the support of the community, he actually faced charges because unearthing and mutilating a corpse is illegal as fuck. The tide is that unfortunately the actual folklore vampire are not cute girls that want to suck you but dead relatives seeking company in the afterlife. The modern vampire is from Bram Stoker's Image, and he took inspiration from even older pulp writings that may or might not be inspired by Vlad the Impaler. Still, looking back at the series of events, they are really strange even if you don't have a drop of belief in the supernatural. It's easy to see how rural isolated people would produce these kind of stories from a few too convenient bizarre coincidences. Both grandma and her cousin are still alive to this day, by the way.
Be me. 2002. 22-year-old homeless alcoholic, starting out life on hard mode. Life in the Southwest. Fall in with Mexican day laborers. Work hard, buy booze, sleep, repeat. Delay. Buddy says he's found a sweet deal of a job. It's a dig job. Options. The snip mode using the mode button or click the new. Ask him to hook me up. Says it's twice as much money as what we've been getting for the same kind of ditch digger shit we've been doing. Meet with Chief. Says keep your mouth shut and do what I say and get paid. 2-hour van ride into the desert. Volcanoes. WTF, I had no idea there were volcanoes on the Mexican border. Park in the middle of fucking nowhere and grab shovels and lanterns. Go in a weird, big as fuck cave. No graffiti, no trash, like totally untouched. No bats, no guano. Big ass fucking stone circle in the middle. Jeeve says don't touch that shit. Gatorade and shitty ham sandwiches for lunch. Bossman says dig here then dig there. Do this all day. Keeps checking shit on some little yellow box like a voltmeter. Keep finding little stone objects shaped like D&D dice. Boss loses his shit when we find a metal one instead of stone. Are we grave robbing? Fuck. Walking back to van. Wore the fuck out, sun just dipping on the horizon. Hear whispering from the shadows, buddy hears it too. Bossman says keep your eyes down and keep walking. Buzzing in my ears, inside my head. Walk faster. Not sure this is worth it. Day 2. We're back at the cave. Big stone disc has been moved and there's like a circular well underneath, can't see the bottom. Bossman freaks out. Everybody out, job's over. Goodbye money. Everyone super quiet on ride back. Feds roll in next week. Asking everyone, you seen this guy? It's Bossman. Even being a stupid drunk at 19 I know never talk to feds. Feel dirty. Nightmares every night. Can't stand the heat anymore, can't stand the sun. Take everything I own and what little cash I have and go cross country and beg my sister to let me stay with her. Never going back to the desert.
Family moves out to father's old town. Live in an old schoolhouse/yard converted into a farmyard. Grade 3 or 4 science fair. Be an idiot and derp to judges and don't place. Mom is driving me home. Pretty upset and say to my mom I'm such an idiot. I'm just stupid. We aren't far from home, about a mile or two. She kicks me out of the car and tells me to walk home. Be super pissed now, decide to try to walk down to the lake, which shouldn't have been far. Hours later, totally lost. Cry deeply. Cold and getting dark. Finally see lake. Wander around beach looking for the boat dock that is close to the road we take to get to the lake. Find a dock. There's a guy there getting off a small boat. Naive kid I was, go up to him and tell him I'm lost. Says he knows my family and he can take me home on his boat. The sun is almost completely set at this point. He puts me on the motorboat and wraps me in a big jacket. Set off into the lake. At least half hour passes. No lights on the boat and the sun is completely down. Pitch black, just the moon and stars reflecting off the water. Suddenly see red lights on a beach. We dock by the lights. Turns out it was the police out looking for me. They go to talk to the guy but he's already gone. I still have his jacket. Turns out the only other dock like the one I seen was on the other side of the lake. It still creeps me out thinking about it and how he knew where to take me, and I can't remember what his face looked like.
Ozark dude here, got trapped in a fucked up cave once. Story follows. Be me, 10-ish. Mom, sister, and I used to go hiking a lot. There's a relatively accessible cave network a few miles south of us. Lots of different caves, from big open ones to what are essentially crawl spaces or wormholes where you have to army crawl and exhale to make yourself smaller. As a brief aside, if you're the kind of insane fucker that goes through wormholes and squeezes, you should thank God every single time you step out of a cave. I'd never even go near that shit, let alone any cave after what we went through. Anyways, can't remember the name of this specific cave. The entrance has a rock propped up against a wall nearby, I guess to keep black bears and snakes and shit out overnight. We have our Shih Tzu, Lucy, with us. Mom doesn't want to carry her ass, so tie her leash to a stand outside the cave. A couple spelunkers are leaving the cave as we go in and chat with my mom. This isn't really a beginner cave, you and your kids will have an easier time just hiking. Mom says fuck that, we came to a cave network to go in caves. So ID ourself bitch.jpg. We get into the cave and turn our lights on. Wow, it's made of rock and it's wet. I spend the whole time looking for cave paintings and dinosaur bones because I'm retarded. Sister is always fucking with me, trying to convince me there's a bear in there who hasn't eaten, shit like that. STFU dude, bears are cool. Maybe 10 minutes go by and we're a few chambers in. The only way to go further in is a squeeze, like 9 inches tall, pretty wide. The sheet of rock above it has a crack separating it from the main cave, but there are some metal supports or some shit, it's hard to remember. Looks like it was designed to crush people, fuck that. Sister starts freaking out saying she heard something. Pretty sure I heard it too, but assumed it was her trying to fuck with me again. You're stupid, I'm not falling for it. Mom tells us both to shut up. Silence for a little bit. Hear something coming from deeper in the cave. Can't make it out, but my sister and I flip our shit. Mom says it's probably just wind at the other end of the cave. We decide it's time to leave cause we can't go any further. Start heading back out. Pretty easy, there's a couple spots you have to climb up and drop down, but nothing that requires any real athleticism. Get to where the entrance should be. The rock fell over it, or it was pushed, either way we're sealed in. Mom tries pushing the rock but she's too short to have any real leverage. We try yelling but not even Lucy is barking at the noise and she's pretty close to the entrance. Batteries on flashlights pretty low but Mom packs spares. She says we shouldn't use them yet unless we need them. Wait around for a while, yelling sometimes, trying different ways of pushing the rock. Mom decides it's time to try heading for the other end of the cave. We make our way there, trying to use the flashlight only when necessary. Mom ends up falling down a 3 or 4 foot drop, I fall with her. Not too bad but scary. We make it back to the squeeze. Mom's kind of overweight and she can't fit. I'm too young to be trusted to find my way through, I guess. Tells my sister to get to the other end of the cave and find someone who can lift the rock. Sister is 13, and she's freaking the fuck out, but she's a champ. She takes the flashlight and makes her way in. Mom and sister are talking to each other through the squeeze, figuring the whole thing out, I guess. Sister stops replying after a little while. Mom hysterical, trying to call to sister, but trying not to be too loud and cause a collapse or something. Eventually she's quiet, listening for a response. I think she's crying, too. We hear rocks moving from the other end of the chamber. People calling anyone in here? See flashlights, fuck yes. The same cavers who we met on the way in were leaving for the day and noticed our dog still tied up, and the rock over the entrance and put 2 and 2 together. Mom explains that sister is looking for the other end of the cave. Dude pushes past us immediately and climbs through the squeeze. We watch his feet disappear and his buddy explains that the cave doesn't have another end. It's about 1.5 miles long, and there are a lot of really tight interconnected tunnels. It's basically a maze past the squeeze and most of it hasn't been fully explored. Mom loses her shit and starts yelling to the guy who went in after sister. Guy with us grabs her and tells her to stop, that she's gonna cause a collapse and we just have to wait. I don't remember a lot of the waiting. Mom and this guy talk for a while and he tells us stories about the other caves and all the crazy shit he and his buddy do. Seems like a really cool guy, honestly. Eventually we hear voices from the other side. Sister is crawling towards us, dude is crawling behind her telling her it's gonna be okay, we're almost there. She meets us and my mom rips her out of the crack and squeezes her all the while saying, "I'm here, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." Dude comes out shortly after and says my sister was unconscious, she must have hit her head. Sister isn't talking, she's just staring at the flashlight. We make our way out of the cave. Dog is happy to see us. Mom makes a joke about Encino Man, which I'm way too young to get at the time. Sister is covered in scratches and has a gnarly bruise on her arm. On the drive to the urgent care my sister whispers that she didn't hit her head. She leans in really close and says it grabbed me. I try to get her to explain and she won't. Nurse says there aren't any obvious signs of a concussion, and she can't find any bumps on sister's head. Just treat it like a concussion and keep an eye on her. For anyone pissed that it's a long story and not much happens, I'm sorry. I figure this much is better than family of 3 found dead in a local cave system. At least, for me it is. It took my sister 3 months to really start talking all that much again, even with therapy, which I don't think really made a difference, and to this day she still won't talk to me or anybody else about it. I've tried talking to my mom about it and she just acts like it was that crazy time we got trapped in a cave. She even talks about wanting to go spelunking again someday, just her and my stepdad. Fuck that. Not me.
I'll bite. Have no idea how long this'll take, so strap in. Gonna be a couple of stories from my time as a trucker. Be me. Freshly 21 years old. No aim in life, recently was evicted and lived with my father. Decide one day randomly while playing American Truck Simulator that, hey, I could do this no problem. I'm a bit spontaneous with my decision making. Get in contact with a company, they agree to ship me out across the country for training. Excited, I've never really left my Midwest state and wanted to see the country, plus the money I was going to be making was crazy to think about. Get out there, get the training done, took about a month altogether. A lot more went into driving semi-trucks and hauling shit than my shitty video lead me to believe. My first partner is some 50-something army vet. He's a bit strange and has a short temper, but I just keep my mouth shut and always say yes sir when he gives me advice. I was brand new and he'd been doing this for years. The first delivery we do is from San Francisco to upstate New York, literally coast to coast, which meant a big paycheck. Before we ship out he decides to stop our little conversation and lighthearted joking and got very serious. You see this? He's holding up one of those 100-page notebooks with the funky pattern. Think the Ned's declassified notebook if anyone knows what I'm talking about. It says diary on the front. Never ever touch this or read it, it is my property and my personal business. Yes sir, of course. A bit strange but whatever. Fast forward like 4 months, from what I can tell the dude isn't completely right in the head, the most minor inconvenience will make him flip his top. I mean someone will cut him off or won't let him merge and he'll yank the entire rig over on the side of the road to have a scream/cry fit. Tears, snot, thrashing his arms, the whole bit. It freaks me out a bit. The dude is obviously unhinged but I chalk it up to PTSD from the army. One day he decides he needs to go home and handle some personally business, something that happens often. We pull off in a trucking parking lot somewhere in Pennsylvania. His East Asian wife who speaks zero English picks him up. I'm sitting in the truck playing Hearthstone on my phone waiting for him to get back. I look over to the passenger seat. It's his diary, he must have forgotten it. The thought crosses my mind to look in it, but resist the urge at first. I mean, it's sorta a dick thing to do and I'm not the type to do something like that. Or so I thought. After about 10 minutes of going back and forth in my mind about it, I decide fuck it, I'll have a bit of a peek. Flip through it, shit about how lonely it is on the truck at months at a time, on the road. With loneliness comes frustration. Sexual frustration even. Okay. Sure, I get it. He continues on about how it weighs on his mind more and more. Finally catch up to the part where I got on the truck. The mood of the diary immediately shifts. Instead of describing me by my name, or even age, he starts writing about how smooth my skin is. Excuse me? How exciting it is to have someone else to finally share the road with. How my clothes fit me well. Oh God, please no please. How my smell is, and I quote, invigorating. He then explains in his fucking diary that he did a bad thing. How he took one of my pairs of boxers for use later. My blood ran absolutely cold. I immediately ran to the back of the truck where the bunks are and flipped the bottom bunk open where I kept my suitcase was. When you only have a certain amount of clothes and you wear them for months non-stop, you notice when one's missing. I count my boxers, including the ones I was wearing. One's missing. I started to get a sick feeling in my stomach. I packed all of my things, loaded them off the truck and got a motel, called the company and told them I wanted another partner. I didn't care how long I'd have to wait. They obviously ask why. I tell them and my dispatch said I'm so sorry etc. and said he'd call me back. 30 minutes pass and I get texts blowing up my phone from my partner, saying everything from, "You broke my trust, that was confidential," and my favorite, "You were asking for it from day one." Keep in mind I'm a 21-year-old dude. Call him a freak, block the number. About an hour and a half later I'm watching the shitty cable TV they have in the motel. Hear stomping coming from down the hall. Hear beating on my door. I mean, it sounds like someone is trying to kick it in. Hear my partner's voice. "You motherfucker, your ass is mine, get the fuck out here, you lying shit." Call the front desk, who call the police. While they're on their way I decide to look out the little eye hole thing in the door. He's completely naked and holding a tire iron pacing back and forth in front of my door. Police eventually get there. Apparently he has a history of this sort of thing and my dispatch told him over the phone he needed to leave his shit at home because he isn't getting back on the truck, he's fired. The guy then goes livid, calls the branch office that handles paying for motels. They haven't got word yet of what happened. He calls them and asks what room I'm staying in and that our truck broke down. They then tell him not only the motel I was staying in, but the floor and room number. Since the last one was just about my crazy partner and was long as fuck, erase a shorter one. Don't remember how long this was into my driving career, let's say 6 months. Got a new partner, some packy dude who lived in Vegas. The only partner that wasn't a huge weirdo and was actually funny as fuck. Super chill. Driving with him was a blast. Out in Wyoming, it was cold as fuck and wasn't even winter yet. During training my training partner was some boomer named Russ. He lived in Wyoming and would tell me about how many accidents were there. I had this idea that Wyoming was some dangerous mountain of twisting roads to navigate. Leave Salt Lake City on a delivery to Philadelphia. Take I-80, which cuts straight through the entire state. When I enter the state, I'm confused. It's literally the straightest roads out of any state I've driven in. Think, this'll be a piece of cake. Around 200 miles in Wyoming I get an alert on my Qualcomm, which is like this little touchscreen computer that acts as a GPS, and a messaging system between the truck and dispatch. Wind danger, seek immediate shelter. Huh? The fuck does that mean? There's no storms, the sky is clear. And then the wind hits me. Wham. Feel like someone just struck me on my passenger side. My trailer fishtails and I begin to see the tandems, the back tires of the trailer, lift off the ground. Freak the fuck out and try to counter steer while braking, but not braking too hard or I'll lose control of the truck. Manage to come to a stop, pull off on the side of the road and put my flashers on, get out to set reflectors on the road. At this point everyone is pulling over, the wind is crazy. Get out and actually get knocked on my ass by the wind, and I start rolling. Like some shit you see in Looney Tunes. Realize putting out reflectors would be useless, they'd just blow away. The wind is like ice against my skin, I mean it actually is painful, it's so cold. Make it back to my truck. Entire interstate is shut down at this point, nobody is going nowhere until this wind dies down. Get bored listening to Coast AM talk about COVID and decide to turn on the CB. This was my partner's truck, so he had a CB installed, usually left it off because it was boomers wheezing about young people. Listen to them talk a bit, hop in and start bullshitting with the older dudes, banter, laugh, etc. Thick fog rolls in, and I mean fucking thick. Can't see anything, can't even see my trailer behind me in the mirrors. It's bizarre to have all of this fog with the amount of wind we have, in fact it shouldn't be possible. Some time passes and someone hops on the CB and sounds fucking pissed. Anyone off you assholes fucking with me better quite, got a gun and I'll shoot your diabetic asses. We ask him WTF he's on about. Some punk thought it'd be funny to either knock on my truck or throw something at it. I laugh, the things these retards will do when bored. Then someone else pipes up, says it just happened. I get a little spooked, but whatever, it's just some guy having a bit of fun trying to scare people. We notice a pattern. It's going down the interstate heading west. Then the guy in front of me, some black dude by the sound of it, said someone just pounded on his door waking up his partner. I sit up in my seat wide-eyed. Turn on my brights. And what I see? What I fucking see? Nothing. Literally nothing. Stand up so I can get a look over the hood of the truck. The moment I do. Bam bam bam. Loud as absolute fuck. Trip over the CB cord and almost piss myself. Get up and about to go see who it was when I come to my senses and say fuck that. Make sure the doors are locked, set an alarm for sunrise and climb up on the top bunk to get some sleep. Sit there staring at the roof while listening to the wind howl outside. Almost sounds like someone screaming. Get no fucking sleep. Pick related, it's I-80 in Wyoming. Alright, here's a spooky one for you, and one I actually have pictures of I took myself. It was a crazy night. Sleeping in the bottom bunk. Or trying to, sorta in and out of consciousness. This was with my packy partner I mentioned before. It's almost impossible to get much sleep on the top bunk while the truck is moving, so we just shared the bottom bunk and would swap sheets out every time it was our turn to sleep. On I-40 leaving Arkansas and entering Oklahoma. I'd say about 80 miles from Fort Smith, if anyone is familiar. All of a sudden I hear, Bismillah, fuck, and the truck starts swerving. He is putting all of his weight on the brake pedal. Hear the engine brake engage. It's also called a J-brake. It restricts the muffler's air and forces the transmission to downshift. I finally come to and I'm laying on the dashboard of the truck. I flew all the fucking way from the back of the truck to the front. It's a miracle I didn't fly out the window. As I climb down off the dashboard and ask Side what the fuck his problem is, he just points in front of the truck. An entire rig flipped the fuck over. It can't be more than a couple of yards in front of us. Sit there staring at it for a second, then I realize. Fuck, we have to help them. I'll throw on pants, and hop out the truck running over to the cab. By this time trucks had stopped behind us, thank God they didn't strike us from behind, and are running over as well. Me and some younger Mexican dude climb up on the cab, trying to pry the door open. I ask if they're alright and get a moan in response. Can't get the door open, tell them to cover their eyes as me and this other guy begin breaking the window. We finally bust it and the Mexican dude climbs in first. He was smaller so it'd be easier to pull him out. We finally get this guy and his partner out of the truck. They are bleeding but insist that they're okay. Pick related, the red truck is mine. Censored the truck number for obvious reasons. The guys that wrecked are father and son, some Indian dudes, I mean Indian as in Native American. The son was driving, father was apparently sleeping. It's a miracle the old man wasn't hurt worse. We aren't going anywhere for a while until the police get a crane truck to pull their truck out of the way. The question finally comes up. What the fuck made you turn over your truck like that? My mother. Huh? It was my mother, I know it was Mom. He then begins to explain while driving he smelled the perfume his mother used to wear. As he's trying to figure out what that smell was, and this is what he said, his mother, plain as day, was standing in the middle of the road while he was going 70 miles per hour. His first reaction without thinking was to swerve and avoid her, causing him to lose control and flip the truck. His father cuts him off saying, "That's enough, no more." He begins arguing with his father about it and I ask, how could your mother be out in the middle of nowhere? The father looks straight at me and says, "My wife's been dead for 14 years, he must be mistaken." My blood runs cold. I walk away and get in my truck, smoke a cig and try to process what just happened. Cops finally show up 2 fucking hours later and begin to attempt to move the truck. They take my statement, my partner's, and a few other people. I don't know what side told them, but I told the officer what the son and father said. I see the color drain from his face. *T, that will be all. Thanks for taking the time, sir. Have a good night. Second cop walks up to me laughing and shaking his head. I ask him what's so funny. This truck was hauling fertilizer, a few more feet and you would have struck the trailer. I'm sure you know what would have happened then, right? I just nod my head. Well, if that's not luck, I don't know what is. Haha, yeah. Pick related, it's around where we were when it happened.
Early 2000s. Be a young lad, 12 years old, staying with grandparents in Ohio. Grandpa and I spend a morning in town, running errands, picking things up for Christmas dinner, visiting the barber shop, etc. As we're out, it starts to really come down. Heavy snowfall. Freak storm. Grandpa says we'll have to cut our day short. Head back to the house where Grandma is waiting for us. On the way, we spot a figure on the side of the road walking in the opposite direction. Grandpa can't in good conscience let the guy walk in this weather. Stops and asks if he needs a lift but stops mid-sentence. Shoots me a concerned look, then asks the man to get in. Guy climbs into the back seat. He's a big guy, for you, with a huge beard and a 1,000-yard stare. He also stinks like shit. Grandpa whispers at me not to stare and physically forces my head forward. We drive for a while. The guy is stinking up the entire car and Grandpa and I are holding our breath when suddenly the smell is just gone and Grandpa busts a U-turn quickly. Confused. I'm fighting the urge to look back. Grandpa tells me it's fine, I can look, the man is gone. I turn and I'm hit with a megaton of WTFs. The bearded guy has disappeared. Ask Grandpa who that was. He says it's best not to talk about it and by his tone I can tell he means that I should clam up, so I do. As we pass the spot where we picked up the stinky bearded guy, I see another figure by the side of the road. My skin crawls and I think, it's the same guy even though the snow is so bad that I can't see who it is. Grandpa accelerates a bit. We barrel right past the person. Don't say a word until we get home. Asked him about this a few times before he died, and he always said he'd explain it sometime, but never did.
Spooky thing happened to me a while ago, not pre-typed or anything but I share if people are interested. My whole family is pro-fun. My parents not big gun owners, but supportive of the whole idea and like shooting and such. Go to gun range one day during a long weekend. They do free rentals. Try out an AK-47. Immediately fall in love. Dad buys me one for my 18th birthday. Fucking sweet. Only gun I've owned up to now was my lil 22 bolt action my grandpa got me when I was little. Suddenly a lot more confident in my abilities to get shit done because I can shoot at things now. Live on Sanibel Island, it's right off the west coast of southern Florida. Super nice place. Only problem is that there are no high schools on the island. Nearest one in Fort Myers, 45 minutes away. School bus ride is over an hour long. Bus arrives just after 5 a.m. every day. Way too fucking early. Wake up one morning, house is colder than usual. Go about normal morning routine. Put on headphones, walk about 10 minutes to my bus stop. Bus stop is right underneath power lines. Hear them buzzing really loudly. Remember a couple years prior when then exploded and flew all over the place, melted power lines landed in the same spot I was standing in. Decide it would be better to move farther away. On the opposite side of the road is foliage and an opening to the beach. Can see shoreline from where I'm standing. Buzzing getting louder. Just then it occurs to me that my iPod stopped playing a long time ago. Only sound I can hear is that buzzing. I'm a very paranoid person, just kind of freeze up listening to the silence nothing for a good few minutes. Suddenly hear car door slam behind me. Guy getting out of his car in the parking lot of nearby closed convenience store, start chuckling to myself, feel silly for being so scared of nothing. Guy walks around his car and up to the front door of the store. Looks inside. Tries opening door. Doesn't open, obviously locked. Tries harder. Still nothing. I'm a bit freaked out again, wondering if I'm witnessing a break-in. Think to myself it's weird a potential burglar is wearing cargo shorts and flip-flops. He gives up. Turns around and sees me. Kind of looks like he smiles, not creepily or anything, more in a friendly neighbor you haven't seen in a while kind of way. Waves. Still freaked out, wave back timidly. Guy gets back in his car, starts driving towards bus stop. Oh fuck, don't look at him. Stops car right in front of me. Hey Anon, how's it going? Who the fuck is this guy and how does he know my name? It's going alright. What are you doing out here at this time? I'm waiting for my school bus. You're still in high school. I thought you graduated. Nope, almost there though. Start calming down, probably a friend of my parents or something and I don't remember. You're all by yourself out here? At the moment, I suppose so. Be careful, there have been reports of bobcats and stuff out here. Oh yeah, I heard about that, thanks though. By the way, what's up with you trying to get into the store? Looks a bit distant for a moment, like he didn't understand what I said. I think I left something in there earlier. It's 5:20 in the morning and he's going back for something. Complete bullshit. Think it's better not to question it. See the lights of my bus coming up. Oh hey, that's my bus. Expecting him to leave. Kind of just looks at me, as if waiting for something. Okay, I'll see you later. Still just looking. Get on bus, we get going. His car sits there for a moment before driving off. School day passes without incident. Take bus home. Do normal stuff, day passes, go to bed. Wake up the next morning, usual routine. Randomly remember bobcats and such. Decide to not listen to music on the walk to my bus stop in case anything tries to sneak up on me. Standing at slop. Of course, hear more damn buzzing. Move to different spot again so paranoia will relax. Can see the coastline far more clearly again. Just watching the waves smash on the shoreline. See something move. Very dark out, hard to make out shapes. Silhouette of something is going up and down the beach. Walking back and forth along the coastline. It's probably just a person with a metal detector or something coming out before the crowd. Shape is getting bigger. No, it's just getting closer as it's walking back and forth. Yeah, they just must be beachcombing. No big deal. Cough. Shadow stops in tracks, looks like it's completely facing me now. Suddenly a very big deal. Standing there staring at Shadow. Shadow is just looking at me. Completely frozen. A minute passes. 2 minutes. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Where the fuck is my bus? Oh, hey Anon. What? Shadow starts walking towards me. Gets closer. Can see it clearly in street light now. It's the fucking guy. Oh, he's a lot bigger than I thought. Back up a bit. He notices. Stops walking. Oh, sorry, did I scare you a bit? He's standing in the middle of the street. I don't respond. Hello? You all right there? He's acting like I'm the fucking weird one. Headlights coming around the Comer. Doesn't even look at the oncoming car. Gets stone cold pissed off look on his face. Walks backwards onto beach. Car passes. Book it home. Running as fast as I can. Drop backpack because it's too heavy to sprint with. Get home. Lock all doors behind me. Wake up parents. Tell them everything. They agree to call cops in the morning if I'm still scared. Go to bedroom, lock door, curl up with AK. Can't sleep. Morning comes. Decide to not deal with police. I've dealt with my fair share of overly friendly people around here. Parents give me the day off from school. Maybe this isn't so bad after all. Around 11 a.m. rolls around, leash up dogs to go for a walk. Still haven't slept since I ran home that morning. Right as we walk out the garage door I see something. Big black thing leaning up against my mailbox. Walk to the end of the driveway. It's my backpack. Oh fuck. Grab it and head back inside. Tell Dad about it. He says fuck it and calls the cops. Police shows up at our house about 20 minutes later. Answer questions, give description. The guy hasn't actually done anything illegal so they can't do much. Agree to keep an eye out for him. Somewhat helps put me at ease, not leaving the house for shit though. Dad decides it's time to bust out a couple of the guns he's had hidden in the back of his closet in case some serious shit happened. Ours and Mossberg's out the ass. Never knew he had these. See? You'll be fine, now relax. Cool Dad. Head back to room and completely crash. Fall asleep around 2 in the afternoon after a Netflix marathon. Wake up at 11:30 p.m. Oh fuck, my stomach hurts. Haven't eaten all day. Get up in a haze. Check my phone. Several missed calls and a bunch of texts from my parents. Oh shit. Hey, we're heading out for dinner, you want us to bring anything back for you? Pretty much all of it was asking if I wanted any food. Oh hell yes. Text back. Hey, sorry I was asleep, yeah, if you guys can pick something up for me I'd appreciate it. Immediately get response. K smiley face. When do you guys think you'll be back? About an hour. Wait. Look at clock. Almost midnight. When did you guys leave? No response. Mom must be several glasses of wine in. Decide to get myself something to eat. Cereal, here I come. Walk downstairs. None of the lights are on. Turning on every single light as I go. Don't hear my dogs anywhere. They're yappy little bastards, they'd have started barking from seeing the lights turn on or something. Pour cereal and milk. Reese's Puffs yo. Start heading back up the stairs. Stairs are tile, they don't creak whatsoever. Completely silent as I'm walking back up. Reach the top of the stairs, turn to walk into my room. What the fuck? Man-shaped shadow on my wall. Completely freeze. The only noise I can hear is myself breathing very slowly. Slowly put down cereal. Oh fuck, my AK is in my room. So is my machete. I'm gonna fucking die. Walk backwards downstairs. Don't take eyes off bedroom door. This was not smart of me. Slip, fall downstairs. Parents' room door opens. Mom walks out. Anon, what the fuck happened? So utterly confused and scared at this point. Put my finger over my mouth to indicate she needs to be quiet. Anxious look on my face convinces her. Dead silence. Hear 3 very distinct footsteps. This wasn't some shit that sounded like footsteps, these were fucking footsteps. Clearly coming from my room. Look of fear and realization shows up on my mom's face. Slowly walks into their room and wakes my dad up. I'm still sitting on my ass in front of the front door. See Dad walk out of room wearing dirty ass tidy whities. Holding a .44 revolver. Walks over to my room confidently as fuck. Nothing, no sound. Walks back out. Looks at me. There's nobody there. You're fucking kidding me. Run back up the stairs and into room. Dad follows me. Nobody is in my room. Grab my AK and go to sweep the house. It's unloaded, but looks scary. Completely go over house with my dad. Nobody is there, doors are all locked. We finish and head back upstairs. My mom agrees she heard the footsteps. She can't find her phone either. Oh shit. Pull phone out and show them texts. They both say they didn't send them and they didn't go out that day. All three of us just stand there for a moment contemplating what this could mean. Angry look appears on my dad's face. What's up? Then it dawns on me. The only way the doors could have locked is if someone on the outside had a key, or if whoever relocked them was still inside. They're still inside the house. Hear two more footsteps. My mom hasn't caught on yet. What? What's going on? My phone goes off. Text message. From my mom. Home smiley face. Tell my mom to call the cops. She calls from the landline, explains that someone has broken into the house. Dad tells her to clarify that we're all white so they hurry. She actually does it. Cops show up in less than 5 minutes. Oh shit, it worked. Dad lets them in. 6 of them go over the house. Find guy hidden in crawl space in the back of the boiler room, which is right near my bedroom. It's the same fucking guy. He was arrested, charged with a couple of things, and I haven't seen him since. Turns out he did live nearby, technically. Lived out of his car and supposedly had been stealing food from that convenience store for a while. According to my mom, he started off friendly but kept hitting on her, so she started avoiding him right before shit got weird. We haven't figured out how he managed to get in with all the doors locked though. My guess is that he'd been hiding there all day. Still have trouble sleeping without a gun nearby. Not as spooky as a skinwalker, I guess, but fuck me if I wasn't terrified.
Be me, on trip through western South Carolina with wife. Last night of trip and we're staying at some state park. Campsite along a creek a few miles into the park. Get to park later than expected. Probably only hour and half of sunlight left. Not worried, both of us are experienced backpackers and we should be able to get there just about when it gets dark. Stop by and talk to ranger to get parking pass. Kinda weird middle-aged dude. He seems oddly worried about us starting so late but is moving slow as fuck getting us the pass. States several times that he leaves at 9 o'clock and has to shut the gate for the night then. Okay, whatever. Finally get the parking pass. It's dated for us leaving several days later despite us only reserving site for one night. Almost correct him, but I want to hurry up and get going, so figure whatever and let it slide. Then proceeds to tell us that the site is not where I thought it was. Thought the site was along the main trail, site 15, pig related. He says we have to cross the stream and take the red trail to get to it. Okay, he's the ranger and I'm just some retard. Can't tell from the map anyway. Head out, see a few people at closer campsites but none after a mile or so. Getting dark as we tum off main trail onto orange and then red trail. Trail quality immediately drops. End up basically bushwhacking through underbrush halfway to campsite. Moving slowly, sun has set behind mountains now. See no signs of campsite before ours. Console, map. We have to be where we think we are. Decide to keep going and look for site. Hit unmistakable tum in trail as it goes up a mountain, should have passed 2 campsites by now but no sign of anything at all. Wife is kinda freaked out. Agree that ranger definitely told us to take this trail. Start to think about how we didn't tell anyone we were gonna be at this park. Wife says what we're both thinking. Weird ranger dude straight up lied to us about site. Think about how he dated us leaving several days from now. Fuck.jpg. Pitch black by this point, drizzling, no moon. Discuss just setting up camp here. Decide against it, obviously first place he'd come to murder grape us. Head back to main trail. Creeped out the whole way. Have hiked twice the distance we should have at this point. Finally make it back to main trail. 2 options, head back to truck or continue down trail to where campsite should be. Almost head to truck and leave, remember he said gate would be locked till morning. Decide we're overreacting, probably just a new ranger or something, head to site. Finally get there hours after we should have. No sign of life anywhere. Only light is from shitty headlamps we had. Both of us still creeped out. It's dead silent. No longer drizzling, but it's that type of heavy air where everything feels super closed in and any sounds seem to get sucked up into nothing. Set up tent, hang bear bag, wife starts cooking. Sitting around shitty stove and both of us hear something. Sounds like someone walking off the main path down towards our campsite, probably 25 yards away through brush. Oh fuck, here we go. I stand up and draw my carry piece. Shine shitty headlamp up trail, can't see shit. Sounds stop. Not sure what to do, so I start whistling like some fucking hillbilly. Footsteps start again, this time seeming to go back the way they came. Stand there for a few minutes. No more sounds from trail. Eventually get around to eating and then crawl into tent. Lay there with one hand on my gun all night. Hightail it out of there at first light the next morning. Wife still thinks that we were almost murdered that night, never looked down on me concealed carrying again. I'm still not sure if it was just a dumb ranger and then some other poor schmuck on the trail I freaked out, or if he really was trying to fuck with us.